These cats, get away. I am recording a podcast.
Welcome to Absolutely PlayStation and Steve Gamers. My name is Benny. That is Dylan, and that is Shank. Also, Dylan's back at Dylan's head is making an appearance today.
Apparently. I was yelling at this little boy because he's harassing his sister. There he goes.
E3 week is finally over. It's time to go back to the regular We Ramble About Video Games podcast, the official PSG podcast. This week, Houston is off on vacation. Next week, Dylan will be on vacation. So we're rotating it, baby. We're rotating it fast and furious.
Woo!
Who's going to go see Fast and 9? I'm going to go see Fast 9's going to be good.
Doing home release?
At this point, it's like a mixed bag if they are. I don't even
Probably won't see it if it's not doing home release.
I don't think I've seen the last like 2 or 3 at this point. I kind of just like checked out after Fast 5.
The year before we went to COVID, and this would have been great during COVID, I did a marathon of all of them.
That's what I did.
And it was amazing. It was probably one of the best superhero movies I've ever seen.
They're going to space in this one, right?
I don't even know, man. All I know is that Vin Diesel's back with a car that goes fast.
Hell yeah. That's all you need.
So, for those of you who are catching up to the first time after the E3 arrangement, this is the weekly show where we just got to talk about what we played and our experiences. Shank is the kind of gamer that likes to stick to one game and dabble his toes. Dylan is the kind of gamer that plays the exact opposite of Shank, but plays one game. And I play like 80 games. So it's like a weird mixed bag you have here on the show. So Dylan, why don't you go first? What did you do all the last 2 weeks? You have 2 weeks to go through.
Sure. I have like one thing that I could talk about, but I could talk about for a while. I played the Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise demo.
Fun fact, I didn't.
Cool.
The Final
Shank
Fantasy
doesn't have a
guy
PS5, so he couldn't. So I'll pitch it to you guys.
Hold on. I did download it. I didn't know it was a timed release, and I couldn't mess with it.
Yeah. Did it? I think you still have like 4 days.
Do I? Someone said
so.
I didn't, and I didn't even check in my defense.
I think it ends on the 26th. So,
So this is different than the Final Fantasy Origins, right? Because didn't they make that a demo
same
too?
thing.
Oh, it's the same
That's
thing,
the same
Origins?
Yeah, It's Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin is the full title of the game, I think.
Absolutely not.
Final Fantasy
Absolutely not.
is
It's Final
taking the
Fantasy
cake.
Origins.
Final Fantasy is taking the cake for trying to go the longest name in video game history at this point.
It's actually just Final Fantasy Neo, apparently. Which I'm all for, but have either of you played Neo? Because I haven't.
No. Oh, no, actually I did. I played a little bit of it. I was a little burned out on the Soulsborne kind of like formula at that point. Like, I love those games, but I'm really tired of punishing myself when I'm trying to relax, so...
That's fair.
It's time to relax. Time to hate my life.
we'll get to that with this demo. But it's made by Team Ninja, who are the people who made Neo, and I had never played Neo. I assumed it was... Because I know it is a Souls-like, and this game is definitely a Souls-like, but I think it's like closer to Neo. Neo's on my list of games to play just because I want to check if that's true.
Okay.
Commenters can probably tell us, but I think there are a few key differences between Final Fantasy and Neo, because I know Neo has a lot of like stance switching, and in this demo you switch jobs. You can have 2 jobs at any given time.
Okay.
And they kind of like power level you. I think the rate of experience is like higher in the demo because it's obviously shorter than the full game. So by the end of it, you have access to like 3 base jobs and usually at least 2 advanced jobs, depending on how many times you died. But it's a lot of fun. The combat is really tight. It's really like well done. The demo is like way longer than you would think for a demo. I figured it was gonna end in like half an hour to an hour. It took me 5 hours to beat, half of which was trying to beat the final boss.
Okay.
So apparently there have cheese strats have come out on how to beat him, which makes me annoyed because I like took 2.5 hours to beat him without using cheese strats. But that is the main
satisfaction.
point. Yeah, exactly. and also a lot of people are beating him on normal mode, and I played on hard mode. So and I can tell because of how much damage they're taking from some of his attacks that one-shot me that they are able to survive through. But it's fun. I would be interested to hear the opinions of people who know more about Final Fantasy. Like, as someone that's kind of on the outside of it, my opinions about the game going into it based on the trailer, like the protagonists being really, really bland, those still kind of stay. You get to change Jack, the main character, his clothes. You get to change his clothes pretty frequently throughout the demo, and he just gets cooler looking every time.
Okay.
Like, he's no longer just wearing like a Henley. He's wearing like Final Fantasy clothes, but he's still, he's still written really like edgy and weird.
Like Dante from Devil May Cry style?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't say a lot, but that whole cutscene that you see in the trailer where so the final boss of it is Garland, who's saying he's going to become Chaos or whatever. That's the fight that you do. And it's a tough fight, but yeah, it leads up with the "we're here to kill Chaos." And they're like, "You're Garland," and he's like, "No, I am to become Chaos." And they're like, "Okay, if you had said you were Garland, we probably wouldn't have killed you." Well,
So does it leave off with like how he survives, or is he just not the main? Well, right. That's what I'm saying. He said the final boss of the demo was Garland.
Right.
So is it basically, my question is that like the final boss of the game, or was the trailer just a misdirect?
I imagine it's some kind of misdirect. I don't know why they would put the final boss of their game as the demo boss.
Right.
Because I think you kill him at the end, because you kill him and then there's a cutscene of them like clashing and then the demo just kind of ends. But I don't remember because one of the mechanics, you guys have played God of War, I assume, the PS4 one. When you're punching people and they fill up that meter and it's all the way filled, and then you can do like a special like knockdown attack. That's in this game, but it's like sort of the opposite. So everyone has a break gauge, and once you break that, you press circle and you like obliterate them into like red blood crystals, and then they're like for sure dead. I don't remember if you end up doing that to Chaos or not. I can't recall, but I doubt it's the final boss. That would be a really strange move for
the
Square
demo
to
has
do.
the ending.
Yeah.
Now when you get the full game, there's a 20-hour game in front of Garland.
Right. Which, like, I'm sure this is like a middle section of the game, because when they get there, they're clearly like they've been working to find this area for a while, because they're talking like, we finally found like where Chaos is, and the demo is leading up to the tower that you find Chaos in, and then you get in there and you fight him. But it's fun. Like, I don't know. It needs a lot of work. I think in the like style department, I guess. I don't know if that's going to change much until launch, because it's supposed to come out next year, which playing the demo, I could see that, because it was a pretty polished demo. There weren't a lot of, I don't think I encountered any bugs, but with the exception of like the first night the demo was out, it was corrupted and nobody could play it for like a couple days.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That was like everyone's. When I just had to take out that real quick. I went to Twitter because I downloaded it and it wouldn't work.
Right.
And I'm like, let me see what's going on. And my favorite tweet was, "Oh man, after that and the Guardians of the Galaxy reveal, Square's lost a lot of trust and faith from their fan base. They're gonna have to do a lot to make this up." And I'm just like, "Cause their free demo didn't work day one? Like, what are you whining about, man?"
People just love to be outraged about stuff. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, I'm just sitting here like, how sad is your life? You're like, I gotta play the demo now. Like, just go play something else.
I would get it if it was like because it is a timed demo, which I think is kind of stupid. I don't understand why it's a timed demo.
Probably, actually, I think I know the reason behind that. No one's really talked about this. So, do you know of a game called Balin's Wonderground or Wonder World?
Wonder World?
Yeah, the terrible game.
Yes.
The demo was different from the main game, but the demo gave a poor impression because it was so bad. The main game wasn't much better, but they fixed a lot of the core problems with the demo. They left both the demo and the main game up at the same time. So if you went to play the demo, the main game was different, but you were sold on the demo, which was garbage. Right. So I think as a precautionary measure this time, they're like, we're just going to pull it down in like 2 weeks. Get your opinions and pull it down. So if they massively change it, this isn't still out there for an opinion to be formed.
I guess that's fair, but I mean, I have an opinion already in those 2 weeks, and it's positive. Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I see it as like a, for especially right now for people who don't have a PS5 and they have at least a year, maybe less if it comes out in like January of next year, but before like this game comes out. They could have extended the demo for a while, and maybe they could throw it up again at some point. Nothing's stopping them. I mean, I'm just glad that they, companies are finally doing what I've been wanting for a while from E3 is like, E3 always has these demos at their booths. Why not just give that to everyone? Nintendo has done that a couple times.
A lot of times the demos at E3, having gone to E3, are like super early versions of the game or it's going to be massively changed. So they don't really want it out there massively at the time. Like I've played games that never even came out because the demo was at E3. Yeah.
I wish they would do like more of an experience like this, where this is very clearly like just a super polished portion of the game that they were able to just throw out and let people enjoy. And the fact that like we got the game announcement and the demo dropping on the same day is super cool, even though you couldn't play it for a couple days, but whatever.
I'm excited for it. I'm the Final Fantasy fanboy of our group here. Like I've literally played every single one of them. I've played the spin-off games. Something about this game just didn't strike me as Final Fantasy, and I think that's the issue. The demo didn't work day one, and I was just like, I'll get to it eventually. And then someone's like, oh, you missed it. It was time. I'm like, I'll play it. I also don't like demos normally. It's kind of like your attitude with trailers. I don't like playing a demo, getting super into a game, and then being like, I got to redo this part. Like,
right.
I'm not
especially if it's like a misdirect. Like, I mean, it seems like you get a good idea of how the game is going to play, but if it's just dropping you in the middle of the game, is it worth like just ruining the story? Especially if you're planning on playing it anyways, which Benny, I assume you are.
Oh yeah, it could be the worst game ever. If it says Final Fantasy, I'm going to play it. I made that joke a while ago. Like like Ubisoft and Square could put out Final Fantasy, the pile of shit. And Ubisoft could be like, oh, we saw what they did. Here's the open world live service version of the pile of shit. I would be like, I'm on board. Let's play.
Let's try it. Let's see how it goes.
I'm the exact opposite of that, because the reason I played the demo was because the reason I played Final Fantasy 14 is because I heard it was a good MMO and I wanted one of those. I didn't care about its Final Fantasy part of it. The reason I played this game is because I saw it was made by Team Ninja and I've wanted to play Neo for a while, and it looks like my type of game, which is action, Souls-like, difficult combat type stuff.
And I love those types of games myself, too. It's just, I don't know, something about the Souls game. Like, I never did Sekiro. I didn't care. Everyone's freaking out about Elden Ring. And I'm like, they look fun. They look like I'd enjoy them. But something 2 or 3 years ago, I just moved past playing a difficult game to play a difficult game. Like, I'll play hard mode on Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is stupidly hard at times. I'll play super difficult time trial modes and things like that. But I don't know, something about game, like, I have to get into the game to want to play that mode. I don't like coming out the gate anymore and just being like, all right, time to beat myself up.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like an age thing, but I've noticed the same thing happening with me. Like, I used to like playing difficult games just to say that I played the difficult game.
Yeah.
And anymore, like, I'm just like, I throw it on easy. I just want to sit back and relax and enjoy myself and not like build up anxiety whenever I'm playing games anymore.
Yeah.
And maybe that just has to do with time.
I still love the challenges. I do, but I just don't like playing a challenging game that starts challenging from the get-go. I like to feel like, okay, I'm enjoying it. Now I want to see how this is in that hard difficulty.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, it's definitely like I really enjoy fair challenges that I can see myself being able to defeat. And that's what the Souls games are to me. Like, people have talked about this a million times. Like, when you die in a game like that, not even just Souls included, but like all games that are difficult in this respect, like, you know why you died and you know that it's most likely your fault. And that's and the feeling to me of like being able to get into a rhythm with a game and really being able to understand the game and like feeling yourself improve is a really cool feeling to me. Like with that final boss fight of the demo, most of that was like at the beginning I was getting destroyed by his first phase. I had used all 5 of my potions by the time I got to the second phase. By the end of that fight, I wasn't taking a single hit in the first phase, and that was just purely me like learning the fight and learning the mechanics and becoming more skilled with it. And that's the type of stuff that I really enjoy, because the flip side of that for me is like games where like a lot of Ubisoft games are just checklists and there's no challenge to it. You're just sitting there, ticking off boxes. This is one of my criticisms of Horizon, which is why I'm glad they added the like super ultra hard mode. But
I did that in Valhalla, actually. Valhalla was finding too easy and I was enjoying it. I cranked it all the way up to the hardest difficulty. And even that wasn't that hard. But still, I did do it.
Right.
A game that
it's
did
like some
do
games
it really
just aren't
well,
built for that.
A game that did do it really well was God of War. When you cranked it all the way up and you tried to fight the Valkyries, my lord, some of them hit like trucks.
Yeah. Valhalla with uncranked difficulty, the only thing that was hard was like the mythical beast. And even that was kind of like what you said, learn the pattern, but the patterns are so simple, like 3 attempts, and I'm like, I got it!
Right. It's like the Lionels in Breath of the Wild. It's like once you fight them once, you like kind of know what you're doing. But Shank, that's God of War is an interesting point, because the reason I said I like hard difficulty when I feel it's fair, I said that specifically because I hate God of War's hardest difficulty, because I think it's bullshit. Benny, you replied to me when I tweeted about this back when that game came out, and you were just like, get good, which is fair.
Because I beat it on the hardest difficulty.
But you beat it like starting for like the one that you can't change all the way from the beginning?
Yeah, because I also messed up and didn't know you could upgrade skills. A notorious story on my Twitter, my Twitch, is that I was playing the game like, wow, it's kind of boring. All I'm doing is parrying. And it's kind of easy to parry. On the hardest difficulty, I'm just parry. And everyone's like, why aren't you using the abilities? Like, what abilities?
Like my issue
for those who don't know, because
this
is a different podcast,
on you, man.
I went 8 hours into God of War unaware you could upgrade anything. So I was doing the 1, 2, 3 hit axe combo and parries for 8 hours, and we were talking to somebody on a different podcast, and they're like, what do you think of God of War? I'm like, it's fun, I'm having a good time, story's great, combat's a little like really lackluster compared to the previous ones though. It's very much 1, 2, 3 parry, and they're just like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you just 1, 2, 3, and then you parry. That's all it is. And they're like, well, are you playing it on easy? And I'm like, no, I'm playing in the hardest difficulty because I found it too easy. And they're like, wait, what? And then we got into the whole I didn't upgrade anything or unlock anything. Also, it was another 8 hours before I discovered Boy could do stuff.
Yes.
That I understand because like that was a whole mechanic that if you missed the tutorial for.
Right.
I don't feel like you need a tutorial for here's how you upgrade your character, though.
For me, I normally go to the upgrade screen when I finally hit the wall of difficulty. Like that's like, for me, I'll go, because I don't want to waste time upgrading. And once I'm like, oh man, I'm getting crushed. Let's see what I did in upgrade. That's my normal rhythm, Go until I lose, then see how far I've gone. And so with God of War, I went 8 hours on the hardest difficulty with no reason to upgrade.
It's interesting to me that you say that you don't like bashing your head against a wall, but you played that game on the hardest difficulty. Because like literally for me, the first 2 encounters of that game are not like they're not tuned for that hardest difficulty, because the game is about upgrades and it's about like getting your level to at least the level of the enemy, which I think is stupid. Like otherwise you really can't beat them. Like the game is just not built for super hard difficulties.
But that came out 2 years ago. Like I said, this has been a more recent thing I've noticed with me, where I just don't, if a game is known to be hard, I don't come out the gate doing it. Like Nier,
gotcha.
I put Nier on the easiest difficulty. The newest one, Reincarnation or whatever, I put that on the easiest difficulty from the get-go, and I know I'm going to like Nier, and I started playing it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of easy. Crank it up. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah.
But
Nier kind of goes too far the other direction, though. Like it auto everything. It auto magic, auto parry, auto dodge, auto attack. At a certain point, I'm not kidding.
Bored.
At a certain point, I'm not kidding. I was just running into enemies, and then I would let the game play, and I'd go make a sandwich.
You can turn on that much auto. I turned it all on when I first started the new Nier, and I'm running around the same as that thing, and I'm like, we should put some difficult, like this. The story's not that good that I'm going to sit here for 30 hours while it auto fights everything.
That's why I wasn't ever able to finish it, because like I'll start trying and then I'm like, well, wait, I could just auto this, but then I start doing it auto and I'm like, well, the story's not interesting enough for me to just watch it like a movie. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, for me, it's like I will change the difficulty down if I start to feel like if I start to feel myself getting frustrated at parts that I don't think I'm supposed to be frustrated at. Like the first encounter of the game, when it takes me like 30 minutes to defeat and I'm just annoyed, I'm going to turn the difficulty down. But
I deleted a game because of the difficulty, not for rage quit. Have you heard of a game called, it's a recent game too. This is probably one of the more recent games I decided to go into knowing it was going to be difficult. Have you heard of a game called Ghost Runner?
Yes.
Sort of.
Okay, so it's a parkour. It's basic. Think Mirror's Edge if it was entirely focused on combat.
Yeah.
But it's as janky as Mirror's Edge.
Oh no.
So I, like an example, a tutorial level, I died 64 times before completing it. It's it very much is like you have to go from point A to point B immaculately, like to a T. And it got to the point where Natalie was like, what are you doing? And I'm sitting in the theater. I'm like, run, jump, wall run, dive down, slash guy's throat, grab his gun. Here we go. Reset. Damn it. Run, jump, wall run. I'm like in a cadence saying what I'm doing to getting hyped, standing up like, shit, fudge.
He's gaming.
And I got to what I thought was a far point in the game. And I'm looking, I'm like, because of how long I'd been on it now, because it's so difficult. And I look at where I'm at, and it's like, you are 1/20th of the game. And I'm like, delete? We're going to get mad like 10 hours in, and I'm not finishing this.
I'm like, trust me, like, and this is like, I definitely get frustrated at games. I'm not ashamed to admit that I have gone into gamer rage. I have anger issues, like, outside of that stuff. There are for sure, like, you know how that door is all messed up back there?
Yeah.
There's a reason I stopped playing competitive Overwatch. Like,
that's the same reason I stopped doing competitive stuff, because if I have a bad match, I didn't take it on a door, but I'd get off like the game, and I'm just like mad at the world. Like now they'd be like, do you want to watch a movie today? No, I don't want to watch a goddamn movie. I lost the match.
Isn't that the worst though? Like you finish, like you just decide to quit, you rage quit. You go upstairs, you're pissed off, your wife asks you what's wrong, and you're like, I'm mad at a video game. Just ignore me. I know I'm being unreasonable. I need to be angry right now. Go away.
I almost had the match, but Dylan ran to the left. I told him go to the right.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Or Reinhardt was running ahead and not using his shield.
Yup. It's always the Reinhardt. There's definitely, like, it's weird. My relationship with difficulty, and I feel like everybody's relationship with difficulty in games is, like, very specific, because certain types of games and certain types of difficulty I'm okay with.
Right.
Like skill checks I'm okay with, but skill checks that get easier with like leveling and that's kind of necessary. That's the stuff that I'm like, well, this, like, if it's just not tuned well, which is how I felt about God of War, then I get frustrated. And there's stuff in Souls games too, like nonsense bullshit that's just like, okay. Like, you know, I can't think of a specific example, but there are definitely boss fights where they just do some random thing that's like frame perfect and it has no way to like see it coming. That's just nonsense.
Yeah. There was Ghost Runner was the one that I decided I'm just going to call it now because I will get mad. There was another one that I did recently, and I was getting super mad, and Natalie was trolling me, and she was doing the, like, get good, scrub, and I'm like, this boss is bullshit! Like, I don't remember what it was, but there was something, and that was my argument, like, this is not tuned right, like, because I am not, like, I get what I'm supposed to do, and it's not working!
That's how I felt about, there was, Titan Souls is, like, an indie, top-down 2D, Souls-like game, sort of. Yeah. It's called Titan Souls, but it's really not a Souls-like.
I played that one, I think.
Yeah, I played like the first couple hours of it, and I don't like it. Just because the controls aren't tight enough for its like concept to be carried out well. It's essentially it's just a boss rush game, which is my first issue, because like Souls-likes, there's a cooldown period. You're not just fighting hard boss after hard boss after hard boss. And each boss just takes one hit to kill them with your like little bow thing that you can call back. But it's just, they don't, like, the controls aren't super tight. And a game like that where you can only take one hit and they can only take one hit, like, the controls need to be like really, really tight. Like Mega Man. But I don't know. I think my main problem with it is that there was no like cooldown period. There was no, you beat the boss, congratulations, here's a new power, now like go kill some fodder and level up a bit and then fight the next boss. It's just, you beat the boss, cool, you get nothing, now you go and beat the next boss, your reward is a harder boss. It's like, that's a game that I was like, I'm gonna get frustrated, I'm just not gonna play this.
Actually, I remember what the game was, and you might actually like it. And I actually feel like this whole properly tuned fight things is the reason why we have so many roguelikes now. Because I feel like, because Returnal was my example with this one, I kept getting screwed. Because Returnal is entirely an RNG roguelike. And I kept getting screwed because I didn't have the right way to counter the way the enemies were rolling out and fighting me early on. I'd be in a hallway. They would completely camp the hallway. I couldn't move. I couldn't dodge. I couldn't shoot. I had to die and let it reset. And your argument about the tuning, I was like, look, I get people are liking this. I don't feel like this is tuned right because I think they're using the excuse of, well, you're just going to come back to life in a minute anyway, whatever, as why they didn't tune. Like, I should not be this early in the game and have zero answers to a problem. You know, and I feel like a lot of roguelikes like to go that route where instead of tuning it, they're just like, oh, you'll die anyway. I think that's why I like Hades so much, because at no point in Hades did I ever feel like it was a lack of skill, like the room screwed me. I felt like it was a lack of skill that would get me killed. But then games like Returnal, I felt like the room screwed me. It wasn't tuned.
But didn't you say that you think that you didn't spec into the right skill tree?
Right, and this isn't a bash on Returnal because I spent like 3 hours on it, and I could have very easily either not gotten the right weapon, not gone the right route, not gotten the right skill. I didn't spend enough time to see if it was improperly tuned or if it was me or like what the deal was. That's why I've never really been like, oh, screw Returnal. Everyone loves it, and I think you'd like it if you want really hard games, Dylan. I wasn't feeling it at the 3 hour marker, and I didn't want to figure out if it was tuned or if it was me. Like I didn't want to figure it out at that point. I was like, I'm not enjoying this. I'm out.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, but that was the one that I was like, Natalie was watching me and she's like, just get good, just dodge. But dodge where? Wall! There's a wall!
There's stuff everywhere.
I can't dodge! What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's one thing that the Souls games all have, is their stupid camera that will kill you 95% of the time when you're in like trapped in a boss room.
Maybe that's why that was her reaction, because she does all the Souls games and she's like, no, it's just the camera spinning, you're rolling the wrong way. All right, well, I'll go next, Shane, because my counter to his is going to be great. You're gonna love this. He's talking about playing one of the hardest games ever. So here's what I've done with my last week, kids. After beating the Yuffie mission in Final Fantasy VII Remake, I sat down and played Ratchet Clank: A Rift Apart, and it's surprisingly difficult. So I put it on easy, and I'm enjoying a Pixar movie.
I went to get a go ahead. I was just going to say, I went to get a haircut today, and I swear to God, a commercial for that game came on the TV probably 3 times in the course of like 10 minutes. Like, they are really pushing that game out. And it looks really good.
So I started the game because Natalie sometimes likes to watch a game, and if it's got a really solid story, she wants to see the story. So I started the game, but thinking, oh, it's Ratchet and Clank. I'll just put this on hard, and I'll still probably breeze through it. No, it's a lot harder than you thought. It's a game where your life is very low, and it scales based on your life, which works. But like right at the beginning, things were doing a lot of damage But so like very quickly, because she just wanted to see the story, I'm like, look, I don't care if this one's on hard or not. And I also Googled to see if the trophies mattered if it was on hard, and they don't. So
yeah,
I was like,
do that too.
Isn't that the biggest thing that usually decides whether or not you play a game on hard? Is there a trophy for it?
So I brought it down to easy because I'm like, all right, cool. We're going to blow through this no problem. And I was still getting wrecked. And she's like, dodge. Just start dodging. Because I was just running and shooting. And you have like 4 dodge mechanics, and I'm using none of them. So, but the game, all joking aside about the difficulty, The game is incredible. Out of everything I've played on PS5, this has so far been one of my most enjoyable experiences that is PS5 exclusive. Now, I know that bar is 3 games, but...
Did y'all... So, I in a podcast recently, when you guys were talking about PS5 exclusives, you didn't mention Demon Souls, and I edited a joke about that. But is that, like... I know, Shank, you haven't, but Benny, have you played Demon Souls?
No, I watched Natalie and Houston both play it because they did it behind me on the TV because I was playing Final Fantasy at the time and we had the one PS5, so they did it right behind me. So by the time it was my turn to play Demon Souls, I'm like, I'm not that interested at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
that's my favorite like PS5 exclusive right now is Demon Souls.
Try Ratchet and Clank because Ratchet and Clank is actually incredible. It is old school platformer shooter. There's collectibles everywhere, side stuff to do. The gunplay is surprisingly a ton of fun. Like I got one gun, the ricochet gun. You shoot that into a guy and then it ricochets bullets in behind them. So you puncture shields and Shank, I'm waiting for the next exotic in Destiny to be that. Puncture shields and shoot from behind. And then everyone complain about it. That's totally going to be a thing. The grenades, the weapons, they level up based on you using them. Ratchet himself levels up. Rivet is not shoehorned in at all. Like, there was a bit of a concern of oh no, we have a female Ratchet. No, the plot is awesome. Right at the beginning, it kind of assumes you've played the originals, but assumes you have it at the same time. They quickly explain who everyone is. Clank shows up as like, Ratchet, I found a way to go through the dimensional portal and find your family. And Ratchet's like, I don't know if I want to do that. Dr. Nefarious shows up. Boom, dimensions are broken, and the graphics are incredible. Now, you all saw the presentation, right, where it showed Ratchet like bouncing between dimensions and all of this stuff. That is all in game. That was my biggest shocker. None of that is CG. I'm on a rail, dashing between things, riding up a giant robot while dashing into other realities with things flying around me and all kinds of crazy stuff, jumping, dodging, running along a wall. It's incredible. The game has you so amped up all the time. And it has a Metroidvania style portion to it where it's like, oh, I don't know how I can get over this ledge. Oh, now I have speed boots. Let's go back to that planet and do that stuff. And I know a lot of this is like old school Ratchet and Clank, but it's just, it all feels like everything you did love about Ratchet and Clank in this style of game amped to 1,000. It's just so perfect. It just feels so polished and so great. The cutscenes are incredible. The story is just enough to keep you interested, but basic enough to keep a child interested if they want to. It's probably one of my favorite games out so far this year, period. One of. I mean, I know I got quite a few. But and I never expected that to come from a Ratchet and Clank game. I honestly got that and the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I thought I'd be all about Yuffie. Probably go through hard mode. Beat the Yuffie mode. It was okay. It's fun. Her gameplay's fun, but the story really is. She happens to be there while Cloud and the gang are doing their thing. That's the plot. You know what I mean? Like,
nice.
Kind of Final Fantasy 15-esque of like dropping a character in as DLC.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
It's literally she was running around while Cloud and the gang were doing their thing, and then it resolves with her watching the plate fall. Spoilers if you didn't play 7 last year. But watching the plate fall, being upset, and then stuff happens to her crew, and then she's alone again. And like that's it, like nothing really happens. It was just cool seeing Yuffie run around. But I got done with it and I was like, all right, I don't really care about doing this one on hard mode. I'm just gonna call it quits there. Let's pop on this Ratchet and Clank game. It'll probably be like a fun 5 or 6 hours. I'll probably get bored midway through because it's so basic. And I have been glued. I started it with the expectation Natalie and I were just gonna do the story, and I'm already looking up guides for all the trophies, and this is my next platinum right here. I'm taking a break from Assassin's Creed to do Ratchet and Clank. So,
how far into it are you? Like how many hours?
6 or 7 hours now.
So have you like unlocked any of the Colosseums or arena battle modes? Because
you've
already started doing that?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was just impressed when I saw the gameplay reveal and like just the trailer, the presentation for it. There seemed to be a lot going on with the game. Like they seem to have a lot of different modes for you to play to just kind of keep the variety up in the game to keep you interested.
It's a lot of fun, a lot of little modes, a lot of little things to do. It's also a great showcase of the PS5's power. Like I was amazed when I'm diving through the dimensions and like nothing loaded. Like you'd go, like there's an entire world around me. There's the city with the cars, the backgrounds, everything is fully rendered. You go through that portal and it's a fully functional secondary world with its own rendered. There was no load time, no bad anything. It just instantly I'm in that world, and just that feeling of like, it didn't feel like I was in a game for a moment because it just kept moving. And I even stopped at one point because the portals will stay open. Just started looking through the portals. They were all fully rendered on the other side. You could move the portal around to see things moving around in there. And when you walk through it, there's not even like a transition. You just walk onto that other portion.
That's so cool. Man, this is why, like, because you guys have talked about a few times how like the PS5 isn't a huge jump from the PS4, technically speaking. And every time I hear that, because I've heard that from a lot of people, and graphically, I agree, but obviously that's going to change as people get more comfortable with the PS5 hardware. But I think this is a really good example of the point that I've been making, is like that SSD being the drive of the PS5 is a much bigger deal than a lot of people realize.
Yeah.
And I think like this game is probably like, you know, with its conception of just like, you know, switching between worlds. And there's a lot of games. There's another game, I forget what it's called, but the one where it's like a horror type game where you're switching between two worlds. That like started as a tech demo. I don't remember. But like that's finally like showcasing like, and it is still pretty early on for this console, but showcasing like what the PS5 is capable of. And just both next gen consoles are capable of. And that's, I'm excited because like also Ratchet and Clank on the PS4, like the remake of the original, that was also like a really pretty game that utilized a lot of like what the PS4 has to offer with I think that was mostly like its processing power, because there were a bunch of particle effects and there were so many like models on screen with
this one puts that one to shame, because I just replayed that one with Natalie right before this one, because she was like, oh, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart looks fun. And so I was like, yeah, well, why don't we do this remake? We'll just redo this remake real quick. And, you know, and it was fun. It was a blast, and it did a good job of showing the PS4. But I've just been amazed. I have been amazed multiple times playing this. Like, how did they even do that? Like, I just did one of the worlds where you have to go wake up this giant robot. And when you wake him, he deems you broken and wants to wreck you. And so they got this like rail grind system, and it's literally just you on this rail grind for like 5 minutes, circling this giant robot trying to catch you as you jump through dimensional portals to a lava world, to this weird space world, back to fighting the giant robot who's trying to pluck you out of nothing, who's just grinding around, running on the walls, dodging trains, jumping off of things. And it's just like, this is incredible the way this looks, and I feel in this. I feel like this is happening. You know, like, this is great. So I'm surprised, and I highly recommend anybody check out the Ratchet and Clank. It's Rift Apart is incredible. I was expecting to beat a couple games and then go to Assassin's Creed 3. I want to get the platinum in this. Remember we were talking about the games you want to do it in versus just, I gotta get a platinum. Right. I want
the checklist
to do this.
Games.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious if with the PS5 we're gonna see less of a focus on like improved graphics, because we're kind of at that like point with graphical fidelity that like they don't really need to improve it anymore. And if they're going to start focusing on like what they're able to do with it, so you're talking about like how they basically render 2 separate zones or more than 2 zones at a time. I'm hoping that with the PS5, instead of using all of that processing power to just make things look a tad bit better or run at a slightly higher frame rate, that they're going to start like using it in new ways, like with Ratchet and Clank. I don't know. It would be really nice if we could say goodbye forever to loading hallways. Like,
yeah. I think we definitely are at that point. Like, I think the two main things that these consoles are giving us is more consistent more consistent frame rates and being like locked to 60 instead of, you know, consoles experience mostly being 30, and load times, not just of new levels, but of assets. There's going to be less pop in, for like, you know, when lower quality assets pop into higher quality assets. I think that, the Final Fantasy VII remake was a big example of that, where on the PS4, even without the upgrade, just the bare hardware of the PS5 was making pop in like non-existent, where in the PS4 in the like the big town that you're in, like everything looked muddy for like 2 minutes before all the assets loaded in. So like that's there. It's and that's the problem, right? Is like you can't like. You're going to bore someone if you come to E3 and be like, oh, this game loads 70% faster. And then they show that. It's like, that doesn't wow someone as much as look at this like hyper realistic model that we can now render in real time. Which I mean, we are still getting some of that. Like we talked about Forspoken during the E3 stuff. That's a game that still like looks gorgeous and is coming to consoles. So we still are getting like graphical leaps. It's just, you know, nothing's going to be as big as like going from the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64. Like,
oh no, yeah,
we're not
going
gonna
from
get
like
that.
2D to 3D. We're not getting that again.
Right.
I mean, even 360 and PS3 to Xbox One and PS4 was a huge jump. I mean, I don't know. I hope we start focusing a little bit less on graphics and more on what they're able to do with it. Because I don't know. That's just more.
We're at a point now where I feel like consoles have outpaced PCs in certain aspects, obviously not all aspects, but in certain aspects that developers no longer have to worry as much about like curtailing their game for a console experience, like downgrading it. Now they can just develop the game and it will probably be able to run.
Yeah. No more Watchdog situations where they're like, look at how great it looks. Oh, we couldn't do that.
Yeah. Or like Cyberpunk as well. That was
I was just about to say, side
note,
did you notice that Cyberpunk is finally back in the PlayStation store?
Is it?
Finally.
I didn't even know that. I didn't even see that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did they fix it?
It took that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they fixed it, but it's apparently past Sony's muster, so it's able to get back into the store. At least it runs.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's playable
it still
now.
is.
On top of that, I've been going really because I've been doing a lot of weird stuff the last week because of E3 and then having to deal with the cat and everything that was going on with that. I've been doing a lot more of the app Games with Houston. There's a new one that came out, Alchemy Stars. We'll be talking about it soon. Takes a unique approach to gaming where you have to drag a unit across a grid of colors to match up and attack everything around you. So it'll be interesting. We're going to do a whole video on that one because it's apparently taking the mobile game world by storm. I didn't even know it existed until it came out. But it's taking everything by storm. And I've been actually getting really crazy on my Xbox recently. That Game Pass, just the ability to just download. Like the other day, Shank and I were talking about, he was on Master Chief Collection. And I was like, oh yeah, let me download that on Xbox. Oh, I'm in the store. Let me download this. I got Benny syndrome again and downloaded like until it said your Xbox is full. And then I would like jump on for 10 minutes and be like, bad game, delete, bad game, delete. But I'm enjoying the ability to just download whatever I want and play whatever I want and not worry that I just spent $100 testing games. You know?
Right.
I look forward to that Game Pass so much. I mean, right now, I guess I'll just transition into what I've been doing, but right now I've been mainly working on the Master Chief Collection because Xbox Game Pass got me super excited just about being able to download games for $15 a month. I sound like an ad right now. I don't know why, but
if you want to sound like an ad, every time you mention Game Pass, you got to be like, which by the way is a great bargain at $15 a month for the Ultimate Package.
Look right into the camera. So, $15 a month.
Use code comics. No, we
don't have that.
we don't have that. We are not. Anyways, get back on topic, Ben.
I try, and then it's another topic. What do you?
I was talking to myself.
He's talking to himself.
That was the joke. I know. I was going with it.
Oh shit. Okay.
Shank's name is Ben. For anyone that doesn't
know. But yeah, that trailer for the new Halo, it just got me pumped. I want to go through. I want to play the games because I never played them, which is funny, being the Bungie fan I am.
Hold on.
You never played any of them?
Never played any of them. I played multiplayer.
Wait, hold on.
Interesting.
The Bungie fanatic has not played Halo 1 through Reach.
Faker.
Yeah, Faker. Come on, let's point and shame him. Faker.
I was really contemplating whether or not I should share that tidbit of information with you guys.
No, because you know what's going to happen now,
really
Shank.
regretting
Every
it
night
now.
that you're free, you and I are going through the entire trilogy now. And we're dragging Dylan here. Every night that you're home from
I
work.
have it. That's fine.
Don't worry, Dylan. It's like one night a week. Every night that you're home from work. That is a thing now. We're going to have the weekly Shank is finally playing Bungie's Halo podcast.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm down.
Well, I mean, I've always wanted to do that, but
No,
now I actually have an excuse to do it. A, and B, it's affordable to do it. So
it was different. It was different when you were like, "Oh yeah, no, we should all play Halo," but I didn't know you never played Halo. No.
Yeah,
You
that's
never.
why
no, and we're doing it in Legendary as a 3-man stack. I'll stay in the back, so I just get credit. So
That's why I deafened myself whenever big things were happening, because I'm seeing cutscenes for the first time.
which one are you playing right now?
It had Reach as the first one, so I'm playing Reach first. Because isn't that chronologically the first one?
Chronologically, the first one, yes. Okay. Dylan, you need to go download Halo. Tomorrow we're starting the Halo Adventures with Shank. We're going to start Reach over. Okay. Where are you at in Reach?
5 or 6 chapters in.
We can do that tonight. We got this. We're going to catch up. All right, Dylan,
Yeah.
you and I are getting to wherever Shank is. We got plenty of time because he works a lot. So
Just let me know. I'll be around.
welcome to the inception of the new Halo podcast here at PSG.
I mean, hey, I'm down. I love bungee shooters.
You can't say that.
You love
I
Bungie
really
shooter.
can.
No, you like Destiny.
I've
And
played
Destiny
Halo
2.
before. I
That's
haven't
2.
played Halo's story. I played multiplayer when I was growing up.
Did you
told
play
guys
Marathon?
this.
Have you played Marathon? No.
No.
Now we're getting to gatekeeping territory.
I was literally about to say, you're gatekeeping Bungie from me right now. How the tables have turned.
I am gatekeeping Bungie from you, and you will earn it, Shank. You will chat. Let me know. Right? He will earn it by completing these
God,
with me
I
and Dylan.
regret.
Dylan and I have been looking for a game to play together. It's going to be helping Shank experience his supposed love.
This is why I lie and keep secrets.
Fair. I mean, to be fair, it'll be like probably as fresh for me because I haven't played them in a long time.
Yeah, I haven't either. So
I don't even think I played 2's story. I'd played most of 1's, all of 3's, and I think all of Reach's. But yeah, it's been a minute.
I barely
since I
remember
played
1
them.
and 2. 3 I kind of remember. Reach I remember the best because I did that multiple times. 4 I remember disliking, and I don't remember 5 was a thing. But I do know it exists.
I never played those.
I
never
did
had an Xbox
own
One.
4, but again, I only played the multiplayer. I don't think I ever played the campaign. Or maybe I was just so lost in the campaign because I had no idea who anybody was.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Fair.
I'll go play multiplayer.
No, we're starting this from the beginning. We need you to experience every Halo with me and Dylan before the new one comes out, and then we as a trio will do the new one. Deal?
We'll just stream it. You can stream my reaction to it.
I'm just waiting for you to get to the moments in Halo where you're like, wait, that's an Easter egg. It was a callback.
It will complete the cycle.
I get it now. I get that reference. What else have I been doing?
Yeah, that's not. I do love how you're finally playing other games and it's just other Bungie products.
I mean, it's not just other Bungie products. I remember a couple weeks back we were talking to Huey about him doing a shiny Nuzlocke on Pokemon.
He gave up almost a month in. How's yours going?
Well, I gave up on doing the shiny because I couldn't get a shiny Charizard. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to use my emulator and I'm going to start an entirely new Fire Red game. And I am going to Nuzlocke and I'm going to use my emulator to trade the other starters and the Leaf Green exclusives to this character. And I'm just going to get every Pokemon. I'm just going to do a full 100% playthrough in my free time while I'm relaxing. And I don't know, I got like 30 Pokemon into the game. I was on my way to Cerulean City. I was getting everybody up to level 20. And then I started watching Attack on Titan. And that is a fantastic anime.
Didn't it finish finally?
The manga finished. The anime has half of a season left to go.
Okay.
That isn't going to come out till next year. And apparently at some point I shut off my emulator on my phone and I lost all of my progress. I literally was standing in front of Professor Oak.
No.
So
that's the only. That's why I'm not a fan of emulators. Just like everyone, people try to do modded games. Like I get you can have a good time, and I get some well-made ones could be there. But I'm the guy that always ran into that problem. The emulator crashed and I lost everything, or the mod ruined something. That's why I never mess with any of them.
Well, it's not a mod. If I would have pressed start and save, I would have been fine.
Like it would have been the same thing if your DS had just like turned off in the middle of it.
But the issue was I set my phone down and I watched 12 hours of Attack on Titan in one sitting. I got through all of Attack on Titan in like 4 days. I didn't sleep one night. I just
no wonder
went to work the next day.
Hey, Shank, where you been? I've been working a lot. Also, Attack on Titan's really good. And I was like, I don't understand the reference, but okay. I agree.
I mean, I really wasn't working a lot. What else?
After E3, I think we all needed a little decompression time.
Yeah. Mine was watching humans get popped like grapes. What
did your wife think of that?
So she watched a little bit of Attack on Titan, but for some reason, the like two episodes she watched, nobody died in a grotesque way. She was like, "Yeah, this is okay." And then finally somebody did, and she was just like, "Yeah, I'm not really that interested. I'm gonna go watch like Handmaid's Tale or whatever murder documentary she's watching." So
fair.
I mean, hey, I didn't expect her to like it to start with. I was just had my fingers crossed. I did go back to Nier, played that for a bit. Then I got back to the Forest of Myth, whatever. And I had a 2-hour long cutscene of just words. And I was like, screw this. I'm done. I'm not playing this right now.
I look up the cheat sheets of the words. You don't know about it, but it's a 45-minute sequence, 30 to 45 minutes, Dylan. And it's basically a read the entire story and then get the answers right with a quiz at the end. And if you get them wrong, you have to redo it.
Oh, God.
If you get the third one wrong, you have to redo all of it.
Right.
You can get the first 2 questions right. I'm like, and I didn't do it. I was like, no, I'm done. So
yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah.
That's why I've gotten to that and was like, all right, what's the cheats for that one?
Yeah, I'm doing that in the future if I get back to that game. And then other than that, I did finally go back to It Takes Two. Because
did you not finish it either? Because Natalie and I didn't finish it, and I keep trying to get her to go back to it, but she's like, I'm tired tonight. And I'm like, but it takes 2. I need 2.
It says it in the title, Nat. Come on.
I can't play it without you because it takes 2.
Well, my wife's a teacher. It's summer break. We finally had time to get back into playing, so she wanted to finish that game before we did anything else.
Did you use the same argument? Where you're like, it takes 2, Brandy. Get over here.
No, actually, she asked me to play.
Okay.
And I was like,
nice.
Hell yeah, let's play. How far did you end up getting?
I think we're a little over halfway.
I think we're like almost at the end. We're on the final page that we need to get for the book.
Okay.
But I don't know if there's more after that. But I mean, I enjoyed it.
I got Natalie watching some shows with me, and then we finished up that. And now I've got her into her first app game, and it's kind of been a bad idea, but we have more to talk about. So nice. I got her into this game called Ark Knights. Okay. It's a tower defense gotcha game. And it's one of the games you don't need to pull on. It's the kind of game where you can make really any unit viable. And the pulling is more for the fun of like getting packs of cards as opposed to like, I need this to break the meta kind of an attitude you get with a lot of app games. It's probably one of the best free to play available app games. You don't have to pay anything. It's a solid tower defense game. It's really good. It's got a huge fan base. And I got her into it. And she's discovered gotcha elements. and she won't stop pulling.
Oh no.
I'm like, you've maxed out this particular banner. You've got everything good. Right, but what about that 1% chance to get the other thing I don't have? Wait till that comes around. All right, I'm pulling. No, what? No. So you got your wife to play It Takes Two, and I got my wife to attach my credit card to an app game. So this is going terribly.
You've created another Houston.
It's not that she also jumped into the Alchemy Stars with us, and she's already like, so what are these other ones coming out? Okay, so Nier's coming out. I'll download that. I'm like, oh no. Oh no. She's becoming me in Houston.
You're gonna be.
It's
listen,
spreading.
Nat. I bought you a smartphone that doesn't have any connection to any of the credit cards. You can only play app games on this. Because it's cheaper for me to buy you a new smartphone than you to get addicted like Huey is.
Oh. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Huey and I are going to talk about Alchemy Stars. Seriously, if these two are interested, we'll talk off the air. We might do that Halo thing. That'd be a lot of fun. To just every night, we just hear Shank's latest reactions. Wait, that's Master Chief?
You're such a dick.
I'm Benny. That is Dylan. Also, that is the back of Dylan's head and Shank. And that's a cat. Is that Wanda?
Yes, this is Wanda.
Wanda looks so confused when you turned around. Like, what?
She doesn't know what's going on.
What are you doing? I'm sitting here on the back of this chair. Leave me alone.
Dad, quit scratching my head. I'm trying to sleep.
Thank you guys for watching today's podcast. If you enjoyed this and our E3 roundups, don't forget every week we have more discussions, more lore, and more just generic everything. Crap, I forgot to release the Overwatch one today. That was scheduled for today.
I was wondering when that was going to go out.
No, it was supposed to be today. It was the Tuesday after E3. That was the intended day at all times. Anyway, guys, we'll see you next time right here